of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Sidney Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Amos, it's a great day today in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We have a lot of work to do in spite of the issues that affect us. And I was listening to another show where the host was talking about the kind of leadership that we have in this country today. And a lot of people are concerned about where the country is going, who's going to lead it, how it's going to be led, etc. But in all that conversation that I've been hearing all the time, there's not one single word about God. Point number one. And point number two, the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Those two things are missing in the entire conversation. Are we building a nation without God? Are we relying on our own human frailties and so-called strengths? Human beings with weaknesses and shortcomings, no recognition of the way of God and what your Constitution says we ought to be doing. It is a very serious time in which we live. And there are people who are saying if we don't make the right determination, the right decisions, we're going to get left out. Is that going to happen in the Bahamas? We haven't even begun to achieve the objectives that were set out for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, July the 10th, 1973. These are national objectives. We hear a lot about personalities. We hear a lot about plans. We hear a lot about this one, that one, and the next one. Things are being so individualized. We forget about country. How can you get people together in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to look at the big picture, to see the big picture, to see where they fit into the big picture? A lot of people just want to be leaders, you know. I want to be in charge. If I'm in the seat, if I'm in the office of Prime Minister, this is what I will do. Everybody cannot sit in the office of Prime Minister, one person at a time. The question is, do you have the right person? And do the electorate go to the polls to elect a Prime Minister? Or do they go to the polls to do something else? Are we a republic or are we a constitutional monarchy? We seem to get all mixed up about what others are doing somewhere else. And the cry is, we are getting left out. The Bahamian people are being left out. Everybody else is being taken care of by those who have been given the responsibility to take care of the Bahamian people. Why is that so? Why do people feel that way? You hear that every single day when I come to do this show. You hear this conversation over and over and over and over again, but nobody brings any solutions. I listened to a whole lot of complaints as I was coming toward this way, even before I left to come this way. A litany of complaints. And I'm not saying you shouldn't complain, Bahamians, if you are dissatisfied with what is happening. What are you prepared to do about the things you complain about? Now, there's this idea about constituency, where the persons living in a particular constituency ought to choose the right person, one of their own, to send to the House of Assembly. Well, that's in your Constitution. We should have been doing that decades ago. We haven't been doing it, Bahamians. We've been listening to some people who would sit in some room somewhere, either eating or drinking or smoking or doing whatever they want to do, and say, this person is the one you are to elect. This person is the one you are to send to the House of Assembly. We haven't thought about these things. We've allowed others who don't even live in the constituency to choose a person who doesn't even live there, has no interest in the constituents of that particular constituency. This is the one you should send to the House of Assembly. How come we got like that? I always draw an analogy of St. Barnabas Church and BTC. The people who go to St. Barnabas Church and who work for BTC, they never make the mistake of going to BTC 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. Why? Because that's not the time for them to be on the job. Now, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock Monday morning, they're there. And they've been doing that for years. So how come they don't wake up on a Sunday morning and say, listen, I'm going to BTC today. I'm going to no church. I'm going to BTC. They go to BTC, the office closed. There's only one there, or whoever decides to go there. So there's no work on a Sunday morning. Everybody has gone elsewhere who work to BTC. But you're there because you're thinking, I'm going to BTC Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'm going to go work. Find the place locked up, all closed up. Why? The people who go to St. Barnabas Church do not make that kind of mistake. They've been doing that for years, and they haven't made that mistake. How come? How come it's ingrained in their psyche, I am going to St. Barnabas Church Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when we have church. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, we're going to BDC. And you see them right in BDC. St. Barnabas Church doesn't have service 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a Monday morning. The church doors may be closed. Pastor might be doing something else different. So how come Bahamians could do that year after year, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, for decades, and don't make that mistake? You tell me, Bahamians, why that is so. It's ingrained in their psyche. Of course, you have some people who keep Saturday. They go to church Saturday. I don't want to forget them. Then, of course, you got a few that have their church on a Friday. That's the Islamic people. Those people who keep the Sabbath, like the Adventist people and some other people who believe in the holy calendar, they keep church on Saturday. They don't make no mistake. How come they don't make the mistake? They wake up Saturday morning, they go into work. No. They go to church. And those who keep Sunday go to church on Sunday. Well, then, Bahamians, have you ever stopped to consider how simple that is? And they've been doing it for years and years and years, and have never once made a mistake. How come? I'm trying to show you a pattern. Yet these very same people who go to church on Saturday and Sunday live in one particular constituency or a given constituency. And they have a responsibility as registered constituents. Notice what I said. Registered constituents in a given constituency, because you're not on the voter registration list. You cannot participate. That's how the system is. And you have plenty who be on the register, and for whatever reason, they do not participate in the parliamentary process that is afforded them. How come they just do that? How come people just behave like that? But you see them in church on Saturday, you see them in church on Sunday, then you got a few who go on Friday. How is it, brethren, or Bahamians? I say, you don't think you can be in church today. How is it, Bahamians, that we behave like this? When it comes to choosing a parliamentary representative, we get all tizzy, all mixed up, all confused. You live in the same community, you live in the same constituency, you have the same problems that afflict all of you in that particular constituency. And you mean to tell me these people ain't got enough sense, enough intelligence to choose the right person to send to the House of Assembly to represent them? Come on, Bahamians. How we get like this? These intelligent, brilliant, educated people who've been to university, who've been to college, who got all kinds of degrees behind their name, and they all live in that constituency. The janitor lives there, the plumber lives there, the banker lives there, the teacher lives there. All of them in the same constituency, and have been doing so for years. You mean to tell me these diverse people who know how to go to church on Saturday, who know how to go to church on Sunday, and don't make no mistake, you mean to tell me these intelligent-minded persons cannot come together to choose the right person, send to the House of Assembly? The Constitution allows for it, Bahamians. It's an option that you have. You haven't used it. You've never said, listen, the Constitution allows me to choose a particular parliamentary representative. That's what you are choosing. To send to the House of Assembly, we have all these problems, we have all these conditions in this particular constituency. You mean to tell me the people in that constituency cannot get their act together and make a sound, intelligent decision and choose the best possible person to represent them in the House of Assembly? You mean to tell me we don't have enough sense to do that? We're allowing people who sit in one room somewhere, smoking something, eating something, drinking something, and people are paying them to knock on your door, pretending to be interested in you, and they're not. They never were. And you see all this flurry of activity and people having this rally and that rally, the next rally, people eating chicken, and they don't give them no steak now. They don't water it down. They'll have some chicken voice, some chicken wings. They bring some rum too. Some of y'all like to drink rum. And of course, they'll have some sodas and some. They play this music and they get you all worked up. And they play the music and you get all in a frenzy and you start doing all kind of crappy things right there. And then you forget about the problems that you have on the ground in your particular constituency. You go right back to that broke down house. You go right back to high rent. You go right back to crime in your particular constituency. You go right back to unemployment. You go right back to the sicknesses that afflict you and your family. You go right back to your mother and your father, who is up in age now, and they're having some challenges with their health. And yet you ain't get that solved yet. So it's a temporary thrill that the fellas throw on you and you get all confused and you're not thinking straight. And then it dies down. And you come back to harsh reality. This is what I am faced with today. And every day of your life, you're faced with it. And guess what? You have not yet done a single thing about it. 51 years and counting. You've allowed these particular personalities keep poking you in the eye, poking you in your nostrils, poking you in your mouth. Everywhere they could poke on you, they poke on you. And what happens? Nothing happens to your advantage. Where's the improvement? Look at your own personal life. Look at your children. When the little child comes say, Mommy, I hungry. Daddy, I hungry. Mommy and Daddy ain't got enough money to get some things because they had to pay the rent. The man come knocking on the door, say, got to pay rent. Then the fella comes say, got to cut off the telephone because you ain't pay your telephone bill. Next one comes say, cut off the light. Come on, Bahamians, let's deal with harsh reality, okay? You have all kinds of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders walking up and down in your particular constituency, and you know they ain't no Bahamians. But yet you do nothing about it. Caller, just hold on a moment. Don't go nowhere. I come into you. I'm trying to raise a simple, basic, fundamental point that you have underscored or missed for more than 51 years. When are we going to stop this foolishness, Bahamians? When are we going to reach the point in our lives that someone has been lying to you, deceiving you, misleading you every single time? You have to make that choice. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, are you there? This is Bruce. I'm not hearing the caller. Caller, you'll have to call back. Okay, the thing is, Bahamians. I told the caller to hold on, but, sometimes people can't wait. We are so rushing to do things of no importance. You see how people get all tizzy over Junkanoo? There's a particular group that got 4 consecutive wins, I think it is, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, They're supposed to have a big celebration on March 1. How long do you think that's going to last for? They say the celebration has just begun. How is that going to help you to pay your rent? How is that going to help you to stop crime in your particular constituency? Because these constituencies are crime infested. How is that going to stop the young males in the society who like shed blood? You see it all the time. And then you close your eyes and pretend like you ain't see it. Come on, Bahamians. A loved one has died violently in your constituency. Child, that ain't my son. It is your son. Child, that ain't my daughter. It is your son. It is your daughter. That's not my nephew. Yes, it is your nephew. Yes, it is your niece. You see how we live? We don't even have concern for each other, right living next door to us, and we don't know the heck who they are. How we get like that, Bahamians? It was not always that way, People had love and compassion for individuals. You knew your neighbors. Then the question is asked, who is my neighbor? But the people who live right on your street, you don't know them. How come? You turn up your nose at some people because you think they are not as good as you are. Come on, Bahamians, we got to stop this foolishness. We've been doing this crap for too long. Yet you hold up holy hands on a Saturday and a Sunday, and you say you in church. You worshiping God. And God tells you to care for the weak, the disabled. That same person who come and ask you for $5, you frown at them. I believe we have a call on the line. My producer is telling me. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Professor Sidney Thompson, Walter Thompson, Bernice Johnson, the original, and I must give thanks to the Almighty God through Jesus Christ of Nazareth and the Holy Spirit enveloping us. I only call to put on record today's date, February 27th, is when the prefix of Royal was added to the Bahamas Police Force. And this is one of the reasons why I always give respect to the British monarchy because they are separate and apart from the colonialistic. The paranormal investigation unit I shared with another young officer. He was not aware of it. That will come into play because the whole format of investigations must change universally in partner with the United States of America, the British Congress, and Canada. And I am only calling because you always ask when. God Almighty, He's an on-time God. He never makes mistakes. And that's why I give divine salutation out to King Charles III. You said there was never one who was declared. He was declared by former Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram. And we must cause this information to be passed on to the younger police officers so that it will become policy. And that's the only way they get their intelligence. And it has to go through the law enforcement agencies and then by the Minister of National Security. This Wayne Monroe is the best one so far. So I am only calling to share that. And I intentionally speak in the over-the-hill ghettoianistic because people always want to try and demean and humiliate people. And I had to assimilate and experience it so that I can be able to help all of those who are maliciously disadvantaged. And I thank you for this platform, and I hope that Bishop Gregory Colley and Mr. Martin Albury is still alive, because the One Bahamas National Financial Freedom Plan was a part of the pending administration. And I warn all politicians, this is not political. This is about divine, universal blessings from God Almighty through His saving Son, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and the Holy Spirit that envelop us. For those who so choose, all others, they can represent good, destroying evil. Thank you. You have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your contribution. Brother Cartwright, welcome to the, I think we have another call on the line.
I'll activate.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello, Professor.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good. No, I just want to congratulate you. The other day, I think it was the day before yesterday, you handled you look at I was in Miami. I'm sorry, Miami, West Palm Beach.
Okay, all right.
And I was listening to the show, you and Mr. Hyla, and you had a doctor from the People's Organization on.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And
there was a guy who called in before, he's championing the Haitians and the Africans that we should break all laws just to,
I think that one is all mixed up and confused. I think I remember what you said.
You better believe it. Professor, I was so frustrated. I am in West Palm Beach. I can't get this call in. Professor, you handled that so eloquently.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. I can't even get a better word. Mr. Hyler just took it over the top. And we don't have to go through that again, man. But
no, we don't.
We don't have to go through that, man. We have laws in this country that we adopted for our preservation.
That's right. That's correct.
We don't want to turn around. And next thing you know, because what's going on right now is amazing.
Yes.
I had a meeting with Miss Charlotte Green today. I have some issues. I'm going to talk to her about it.
Yes.
When she brought it to my attention that I didn't even notice, was Monday 242 day.
Oh, Monday, yeah.
Was it?
242, yeah. February the 24th.
Okay.
I questioned that. I questioned the significance of February the 24th. What major event occurred nationally in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas that 242, February the 24th is so significant? I don't know of anything that has happened. But I heard the representative for Sea Breeze, talked
Yes.
about celebrating independence. We don't have to wait till July the 10th. I got very offended over that statement because
Okay.
February the 24th has nothing to do with July the 10th. Okay?
Okay.
Let's just straighten it out.
Absolutely.
Because what you end up doing is you are diluting the real meaning of July the 10th.
Mhm.
Okay? Let's not talk foolishness and nonsense.
Yes.
But that's what I got out of it. And first I heard when they first started this piece of crap, they said, we're going to celebrate the area code. For what? What happened? What happens if we get another area code? Look at Florida. They got all kind of area codes over there
Yeah.
and plenty in California. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? And you talking
But-
about dressing up in the colors
Uh-huh.
of the Commonwealth Bahamas. What are these colors? You're not talking about the flag.
Exactly.
What are you celebrating, Bahamian? See, I question that because it doesn't make any sense. Help me to understand where it makes sense because
Yes,
it is
sir.
stupid and nonsense and foolishness.
Exactly.
But,
I agree
you know,
100%, but I also want to bring to your attention, too, because you always say we live in a carnal world, right?
yes, we do. Yeah.
Right?
Very
And
much
numbers
so.
play a very big part of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're
Gambling
right.
and everything.
Gambling. Yes, sir.
And what she brought to my attention that was, and listen, I don't know a thing. I never did any research, and I really don't care about it, to be honest with you. But
Yes.
what she said to me, isn't it ironic that the prime minister and the opposition leader
Yes.
ended up in Abaco to a
Yes.
service
Yes. I
just
understand.
before that? Like
Yes.
you said, it's not important, so I'm not even getting into it.
Okay.
But isn't it ironic for the carnal minds? And
Yes.
she said that, she didn't say this for sure, but could it have been that they were summoned to make a point because, our Flag Day fails in comparison to their Flag Day.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
In the Bahamas, you know
In
what I
the Bahamas, yeah, you're quite right. You're quite
Yes,
right.
sir.
Yeah, you're all mixed
Well,
up.
because we're losing the Bahamian pride.
Yeah, but we got a time when we're supposed to be celebrating Bahamian Pride late in the year. I mean, what kind of crap is this?
Absolutely.
We all mixed up, man.
Yes, sir.
By allowing strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders to come in here and do all this foolishness and nonsense and cart away that which is Bahamian
Yeah.
and it's buried. And we got all this other crap on top of us.
No, don't forget now. I'm making my report to you right now. Me and my wife over here went to the red, white, and blue,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and we went to the rich part. But guess what? How many Asians working over there?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you.
Everywhere I went, my brother, the waitress, everything. I haven't seen one. I have seen one or two
Okay.
actual Americans,
Yes.
black Americans. No white ones at all.
None whatsoever.
Only the people at the the hostess and the host, people, the managers, yeah.
Yeah, yes,
But nothing else. And I'm not knocking that. Hey, run the country the way you want to.
yes.
But I promise you this: every time I look around, I saw an American flag.
Right.
I mean, in the most unassuming areas, big as your hand or big as the fist of your hand,
Yes.
flying everywhere with pride because. And I come back to the Bahamas, and I only saw these two flags on
Okay.
video.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And
Yeah.
we're afraid right now. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Yeah.
That there's a switch going on right now.
Okay.
That's the conversation I heard about you from your show the other day was the Prime Minister addressing the Haitians. God bless
Yes.
them.
Yes.
But like you said earlier, the Prime Minister seemed to have more Haitian history.
Oh, yeah, that's another story again. I got to move on because I hear the
Okay,
music in the
let me just finish
background.
right there. He got more Haitian history
Yeah.
and not enough constitutional history. Or
He don't know-
he teaches good
He,
Haitian
he don't know.
history.
He don't know nothing about our Constitution.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
Anyway,
you. Okay.
thank
Thank you for
thank
your
you.
call.
Okay.
All right, okay. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. My producer is being very patient with me today. The lines are open 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Whether you're shopping for Mother's Day, Father's Day, back to school, or any occasion for that matter, you are sure to find exactly what you're looking for at the Brass and Leather Shops. Great products like handbags, wallets, backpacks, luggage, belts, shoes, and more are awaiting you. Brand names at the best quality and reasonable prices. Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guess, Travel Light, Herschel, and more. Shop any of our locations. Downtown Charlotte Street, Mall at Marathon, and also the luggage store at Palmdale. Be sure to shop Brass and Leather Shops. You'll be glad you did. Bahamian feel-good food in the right atmosphere. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever you choose. It's the Cricket Club Restaurant at Haynes Point, West Bay Street. The food is off the chain. Bahamian breakfast. We talking stew cow, stew fish, and sheep tongue sauce. And for lunch, crab soup, okra soup, and pea soup and dumpling. Man! And for dinner, they got mahi seafood platter or steak and shrimp. Only $28.95 per person. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Cricket Club Restaurant. Call 326-4720 for reservations. Oh, and don't forget, there's a live band, The Magic Touch, every Friday night. Say, Shoe Depot has what you and your wallet need. They are stuffed with stylish and exciting footwear, handbags, wallets, and accessories for all occasions. Shoes for the professional, casual, cute and glitzy, skid resistant, and ultra comfortable for those long work days. Shoe Depot has got you. Oh, and be sure to join our Shoe Depot Rewards Club for extra savings and earn points for special benefits. Visit either of our two locations, Golden Gates Plaza or the Palmdale Plaza. At Shoe Depot, you'll find the best selection of the best styles and at the best prices.
At Audio Plus, we carry a large selection of DJ and audio products like speakers, mixers, microphones, car audio players, and much more. You can also find a wide selection of musical instruments like marching drums, Junkanoo drums in a wide variety of colors, trumpets, clarinets, trombones, Yamaha keyboards, and Fender guitars at special low prices. Visit Audio Plus on Soldier Road, located in the Cary's Plaza. Open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Phone number 394-6668. Audio Plus, your #1 music store.
I Dream of Sugar, your happy hour spot, where every day is a celebration. Big Mood Mondays, $1 wings, beer buckets, and BOGO cocktails. Tipsy Taco Tuesdays, tacos and $10 margaritas. Wine Up Wednesdays, carnival vibes with specialty cocktails. Throwdown Thursdays, $1 wings, beer buckets, and BOGO drinks. Flirty Fridays, sip $10 sex on the beach, and more. Social Saturdays, 3 for 2 drinks and platters discounted. Sunday Fun Day, unwind with $1 wings and unbeatable specials. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Sugar Rush Lounge at Bay and Market Street, just across from the Straw Market, where every day is a reason to celebrate. Sugar Rush Lounge. Call 603-2792.
From South Beach to Bay Street,
I'm pleased, I really dig your company.
it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. So many things are happening around here. We have to exercise caution and restraint because Bahamians, a lot of things are going on. And we have to try and make sense of what is happening because you can hear a lot more foolishness and nonsense to confuse you, to mislead you, to deceive you. There are persons who already have a track record. That track record is not going to change. It may just happen to get worse. And so, Bahamians, it is high time that you begin to make some sound decisions and good judgments. But you can't do that unless you have the facts, unless you have the evidence, because there's tremendous deception out there. I spoke to that earlier in the show. I told you about BTC and St. Barnabas Church, how the members never make the mistake to go to BTC on a Sunday morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when they know they got to be in St. Barnabas Church. And that applies to any other church now, so don't misunderstand me. But the point is that we have a whole lot of issues that affect us, and we need to take this thing seriously. Brother Cartwright, welcome to Express Yourself on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM.
Good afternoon, Professor. It's a good day to be here, you know.
Yes, sir.
Thank God for health and strength and His almighty blessings.
Yes.
You know, one of the amazing things that we have, because I was starting to look at the Facebook page, and there was a question that was there. I would hope when the producer goes back to the Facebook page, it stands up, because it's something that I think Bahamians need to fully understand.
Okay.
And thank you, Mr. Producer. And it's by a person who says, hello, I have a question about our Constitution. Is our Constitution based on the British colonial system, or was it revamped and as after we became independent on July 10, 1973? That I believe is the same place in Alfred Pratt. Also, do we need to be a republic in order to be totally self-governed without British influence? Producer, do we have a caller? Okay, go ahead, caller, and I'll answer that question as soon as the caller's finished.
Call you live.
Yeah, good afternoon, MacArthur Walter Thompson, and good afternoon to Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, before you all get into the nuts and the gravy of your show, because I know you all fellas, when y'all get down and their boy, it's hard to come up for air. So I could call in early and say what I have a concern with. And I've listened to all of the arguments and the secrecy about the Elon Musk return shuttle that somehow secretively has snuck its way into our waters of Exuma, unbeknownst to the majority of the Bahamian people. And I've heard the up arguments and the down arguments and the this argument, that argument. And me at the ground level, GN, and I keep it simple. Now is my time to speak. When the first dolphin or whale mammal or marine mammal, for that fact, beaches itself, then the Bahamian people will finally realize the reason why Elon Musk came or got run from wherever he was, somewhere in the Gulf there, down to the Bahamas. Because the meaning of the word sonic boom comes from the base word sonar and all of that stuff. And marine mammals and sonar, we know from Andrews Fresh Creek and the Americas, and mammals beaching themselves as a result of the use of that.
Yes.
Is very critical. And the minute Mr. MacArthur Walter Thompson and Cartwright, mark my word, we hear about the first beaching in the Bahamas, then you all know the GNN is talking true. Thanks for taking my call.
Hold on, Mr. GNN. Hold on. Haven't we had animals beaching in the Bahamas before now?
Pardon me, you sound kind of low.
Yeah, have we had animals beaching themselves in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas on other islands?
Oh, yes,
Okay,
sure, especially off Central and South Andres.
Yes, that is correct.
So yes, they have, and it is alleged that the Ortec base has something to do with it.
Yes, I understand that. You're quite right about that. Yes.
So when you hear something like that happen in Exuma, Professor,
yes,
please give me my accolades. Normally I get cut off because I say some serious things. You cover the show with Cartwright, as I think GNN was correct. Thanks for taking my call.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think the caller has a valid point, because we have had some mammals beaching themselves on the beaches in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in the past. We need to go back and dig up that history, because sometimes in this country we forget about things that occurred in the past. There have been specific reasons as to why those animals are beaching themselves, and they die right there on the shore. There's a specific reason for that. And so we have to watch these things and see how we are allowing people to come in here and do and act as they please. And we don't have clarity. The Bahamian people do not have clarity. There's been no consultation with the Bahamian people in relation to these particular groupings coming into the country for the purpose of doing their own experimentations for their own profit, their own benefit. Go ahead, Brother Conrad.
Yes, I understand Mr. GNN's point, and I understand most of the concerns by Bahamians. But what I found out in my going back, we've had, for some reason, for years, many of the space launches and return back to the Earth.
Yeah.
Whether it's by Mr. Musk or by the U.S. Space Agency, NASA, landing in our waters.
Okay.
And I think we have a caller, but I'll let the caller go first and then I'll finish up. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Professor.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
And good afternoon, Bahamas, and good afternoon to the guests. My gentleman there who's going to the house?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I can answer two of them questions. I can answer the one about the flag,
yep,
and I can answer the Republican one.
Mm-hmm.
But I can answer two of them for you. But I'm going to put my question to my gentleman who's going to the house.
Yes, sir.
I want you to tell them people to the house, when you see them making these funny bills and all these crazy things, I want you to go right to Numbers chapter 22. You say, who want to curse this nation? Because they run off with all kind of things what is not in the Constitution. And go to Daniel chapter 5. I can leave that one right there.
Yeah.
Okay, now the one with the Republican.
Yeah.
Professor teachers, listen. You put a stop to these things one time. And these see this government in power, they're getting all the crown land, they're getting all the money, they're getting all the papers, and they ain't making no sense. They ain't do nothing with no sense. I'm gonna tell you about the public. The Queen take us over. When we was ruling, they take us over. And so when we use a nation, think of you know what we say? We say God was ruling us, and we watching them other people, and we say why don't let's have a king like them other nations? So if anyone come in from anything different from a king or our own God, that in the Bible, and in 1 Samuel, something you can read that for yourself right there. But right there, we ain't supposed to have no other person but our God. But we say, no, we ain't want no God. We want a king like the other nation. Father, you can read that right there. Okay, and the next one about the flag thing. I know if a professor, I could call this person name. We was a fella, I ain't calling him, he just passed away. He was a talk show host, right? And he had a day for, if you can pass and leave this country, can you leave this country in a better place than you leave it? And I had an idea would be from, I teach that from someone. I just had an idea. Every Friday, we dress up in the Bahamas flag state day. And I know the bankers do it, but I say every Friday, all place, government place and other place, dress up in the Bahamas state day. I say that's what I leave the Bahamas with. And Mr. Miller, agree on it, and we supposed to push it forward, but we ain't going no place. But every Friday, I put on my Bahamian shirt and my jeans. And that I did. I the one that I could find the old clip of it. We say, what he say? What you can leave the Bahamas better if which one thing you could do. And I say, every Friday, we'll dress up in the Bahamian clothes. And that's what I did there. Gentlemen, you all have a blessed day.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. But I can't write.
Yes. The question that the person asks, do we need a republic in order to be totally self-governed without the British influence? And here's the answer to that. When you look at our constitution, in which I challenge anyone in the political arena, ask this question I would put to them. We have 137 articles in our constitution. How many of those articles comes with a referendum? And people will say, but what is a referendum? A referendum means that the Parliament, the Senate, the parliamentary registrar has a role to play after these things are passed and come forth. Now, for it to come law, it must go to the electorate. That's what the referendum requires. It means that you, the citizens, decide if you want a law or a bill, actually, that is passed in the Parliament and the Senate to become law, which governs you. That's what the referendum demands. Under the Republic style of governance, there is no referendum. Point an example. People always quote me, Barbados. Barbados right now does not need a referendum to bring changes in their constitution. One of the main reasons the founding fathers did what they did is if you look at the old constitution of 69, you needed no referendums. Means that basically any law that was passed was basically it, without the consultation of the public. Now, what you had is that one of the key things that the founding fathers did with this constitutional monarchy by putting in referendums to these articles is to protect mainly the sovereignty, basically your citizenship. Without referendums, you go back to the days of what we now see happening here with the Nationality Act. Means now anyone can become a citizen of the Bahamas. And if the price is right, you would find that the ordinary Bahamian will basically become a thing of the past. Because means now the country will become free for all. But if you look at all of these different groupings in this constitution, those members of parliament of the 72, 73 era, or we say, who provided us with this great constitution, made sure that you have a say. You know, most people say, well, oh, very nice, Isabel. One question, how many Bahamians have the Bahamas Independence Order 1973? If you don't have it, means that you weren't born then, or you know nothing about it. Means that your parents might have, or your grandparents. If you ask them, they would tell you there were 3 issuance of this document. One was the white paper, you had the green paper, the white paper, and the independence order. The key to this is that people may not understand it, but I spoke with a former attorney general, and she said that most Bahamians do not understand that the Bahamas Independence Order is your citizenship Bible. This what makes you Bahamian, because if you read it and you understand it, you would not even mention the word republic. So it's all it is just people, personalities, and stuff. Now you can tweak it. You know, the former prime minister wanted to put a fixed date for election. Means he wanted to give up his power of suggesting when is election going to call. He also suggested that we now look into campaign reform to see who is funding these elections. Something that most Bahamians would have embraced. He wanted to give full teeth to the Freemasonry Act, something that most Bahamians wanted. But the problem was that many members in the parliament, past and present, do not want changes. If you look at most countries where you see they have republics, those people inside the parliament and the Senate decides the fate of a nation. The only choice you as an individual have is on election day. And if they decide that certain things you said you don't like and they want to do it, you can't stop it, not even the courts. And so one of the greatest things I always tell people is that if you never had the independence order, you would not understand that this became your constitution, not something you see from government publication. And I would challenge anyone out there, if you want to understand the difference with this governance, is that you take your time, read it, ask your folks about it. What is this independence order? And if you have a copy of it, go through it. You know, I was at Parliament yesterday, and one or two people asked me, I hear you talk about this stuff on the radio. And I showed it to them. And I was amazed that many of Bahamians in that Parliament, under the age round 15 and never saw this book before. So it tells me that they've been basically listening to people, feed them information that is totally incorrect. This country, by our founding fathers, built this. They didn't just pick this out of the air. As a matter of fact, I always tell people that the founding fathers even outsmarted the Queen of England and her Privy Court. They said, well, how? Before self-governs, before internal rule and external rule, when this Constitution was drafted, we had people living in the Bahamas who came here through the British. We had no authority to repeal and tell people you can't be here. And so the British are like, okay, these people are here. We need you to make a provision to protect them. That provision was a form of the British Nationality Act, which we call the Bahamas Nationality Act. And under that act would have been the minister has the power to grant citizenship, not the Constitution, the minister. And so when the founding fathers went and crafted, they said, no, we can put this in our Constitution. These are the criteria that not even the prime minister can overrule. Now, many have broken it. Many have not abided by it, but many have used the Nationality Act to get things done the way they want it, but that doesn't make it right. But if you understand this Constitution, you would now see that a lot of things that happened in the past, some good, some bad.
I don't know how many of them were good.
And not many of them were good,
Okay,
because
all right.
we've seen whereby our founding father had challenged with the Constitution when it came to citizenship. And until when it went to the Privy and they made a ruling, and he made the statement that if they're going to send his minister to prison, make a cell for him. And the Privy sent down a mandate and said, listen, you're in contempt. Are you prepared to go to jail? So he said, hey, we'll abide by it, but not now. The individual ended up getting his citizenship.
Yes, the individual.
But he was already posthumous.
Yes.
But the next prime minister followed the law. Now, we've had persons who became citizens in this country via buying property and extension of being a permanent resident.
Yes.
That's not in the Constitution.
No, it isn't.
So when you look at stuff like being a republic, these things are allowed in the republic system. You don't need no declaration and all of these stuff, renunciation. You can just walk in and see, our Constitution is monogamous. Means that we don't believe in dual citizenship. And that's why
the Constitution doesn't support it.
And so these are the things I tell people. You have to be careful when you ask them for something. Go ahead, caller.
You have a caller?
Yes, sir.
You hear me now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, tell me something.
Yes,
Is
sir.
there any way possibly we could, the defense force or the police to remove Brave Davis because he's not working in the interest of the Bahamian people and he's going against the Constitution?
Well, your Constitution, I don't see any articles where you could use that type of force, because remember now, the head of those institutions are appointed by whom? The prime minister. So if you understand the way how our
they're corrupt. They're corrupt.
they ain't gonna touch. If you hire someone, that person is gonna be scared to basically remove you.
That's why, anyway, and that's why we need to start the police, the police and the defense for the develop their own, so we can vote for them, not the prime minister. This cannot on.
Yeah.
Brave Davis, he's a corrupt individual.
Well,
how could a criminal lawyer be a prime minister?
Well-
He's in the interest of the criminal.
Well, you got to understand this now. There's two different settings in this. Mr. Davis is the leader of the party that won the majority seats in the parliament.
Yeah.
Now, the Constitution says the prime minister is the person that the governor general appoints from the majority who has won the majority of seats. The leader. Now, secondly, he says also that the Governor General appoints the Prime Minister of the one who commands the authority amongst the Parliament. But if you realize that second part, most of the parliamentarians don't use that. They leave that alone. And so that is one of the problems that we face. But when you get into the Parliament, you're no longer a PLP, FNM, or COI. Your job is basically comes solely under the jurisdiction of the Parliament, means that you are there to represent the people totally, not some of the people, not a half of the people, but all the people. Bahamians have not realized the value, the power they have. See, when you go to these constituency meetings, and I always tell people, listen, it doesn't matter if the MP for that constituency is a PLP or an FNM. If you live in that constituency and you have a grievance about something in your community, you have a right to go to that meeting and voice your opinion. And you continue, and you continue going, and once you keep going, see, they will have to, because somewhere down the road, where's gonna get it? Man, this fella asked a real question and he refused to answer. And then that tells the people, you're not really ready to save us. So we know what we have to do.
Can I say two more things before I cut off? Because I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't say with the police commissioner or the defense, but there's anyway. Let me ask you two questions for you. Anyway, on the brave, there is carefulness. Take vote again. There's no contest or whatever it's called.
No vote of confidence.
Yeah. Or is there any way outside, like the king or the king, or can do something to remove him because he's a corrupt individual and he needs to go?
No, but see, the only people who can basically move him is the cabinet, because the cabinet can take a stance or vote of no confidence. Well, you got to ask the members of the cabinet. I wouldn't know if they're corrupt. It's just that some people scared.
They get money on the table. That's what I'm saying to me.
No, because you look at some of them. If that's what,
that's why we need to learn much to check out their background and this and that. This is wonderful, because first of all, Brave is a corrupt individual.
Well, like I just tell people this, and this is how I lay it out to people.
I'm Perry, I'm Menace, I'm whatever. Well, all of them corrupt. The only voice I consider for a real prime minister was Lyndon, and he was half Jamaican, and I consider a real. I mean, like Keynes Kovar.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right, brother.
Let me get your point.
That's about it.
Yeah.
I got to go.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
But I will say this to you, caller, as you leave now. When it comes to leadership, you got to understand that the parties that have these personalities who runs for leadership is different from the position of the prime minister. Yes, you can do some amendments in this type of constitution right now, whereby that they could go to Parliament, any member from the Senate or the Parliament can put together a bill and said, you know what? We would like to now, instead of having the police and those commissioners them be appointed, we would like to bring amendments to that section that deals with these areas and now make these positions a position that can be voted on election day. They can do that. But it calls for an amendment, it calls for the bill to be tabled, it calls for it to be debated, and then goes back to the people to be consulted, so that once they send it out as a referendum and appeal, then the people can say, yes, this is what we want. But until that happens, it doesn't. And this is why I said to people over and over, you must know the parliamentary rules, and you must mainly know your constitution, because if you don't know it, you just throw it out and say, yeah, but do this and that. It don't work that way. Everything comes with laws, and this is what the Constitution tells you. It is the supreme law.
I want to comment on some of these things, but I see we're going to break now, because I believe the caller tried to raise some very valid points. I don't think we gave him sufficient information that will be helpful to him, and I think I'm going to address that when we get back from the break here. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. The lines are open, 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. And I think there are others like that particular call, and I want to address the specific things that he mentioned because there are constitutional answers for the questions that he raised. And I think a lot of people just do not know, do not seem to understand what it is that they can do in terms of being able to bring the kind of changes that are essential to move the country forward. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Myra Scents and Gifts, formerly Bed and Bath Concepts, is located at the Mall at Marathon. They've got gift baskets, gift sets, teddy bears, and women handbags. You will also find the best selection of perfumes, especially the now hard to find ones, like Club de Nude for men and women, Red Door, Perry Ellis, White's Diamond, and an assortment of Arabian perfumes, just to name a few. It's Myra Scents and Gifts. Friendly atmosphere, affordable prices, satisfied customers. Come on in. We're open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on weekdays and 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Telephone 393-5958. Myra Scents and Gifts.
Do you love fresh flowers at low prices? If so, come into Petal Pusher's Elegant Florist, your event planner. We can't wait to help you with that perfect bouquet or basket for that special person, or book us for your significant life event. We specialize in decorating yachts, weddings, proms, funeral events, and so much more. Create that smile by visiting us on Bay Street, opposite the old Hotel Corona, or call us at 326-2663 and place your order today.
Wise Bahamian shoppers know when times are hard and things are tough, it's more sensible and convenient to shop at YK's Fashion Center. YK's has slashed prices on brand name clothing and shoes by up to 50%, including academics, Clark, polo, and hundreds of jeans and dicky pants, and as much as 70% on selected items. Choose from a large selection of beds, sheets, rugs, and towels, all at affordable prices. YK's has 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, Prince Charles, and East Street South near the Charles Hotel. YK's, where you can afford to look good.
It's time to let the world know.
Get ready, Bahamas. It's the 242 sale that you've been waiting for. One day only on the 24th of February, 2025. The deals drop at 2:42 p.m. and end at 5:24 p.m. That's 2 hours and 42 minutes of massive savings. Shop over 24 amazing items, including furniture, appliances, kitchenware, and so much more. Score up to 60% off of your favorite finds right here on Market Street on the 24th of February at 2:42 p.m. Don't miss out. These deals are gone in a flash. Only at Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center, where we say hello to goodbyes.
From Cable Beach to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. I think the last caller asked some very, very good questions. I think Brother Cartwright was trying to assist him and help him, which is a good thing. But there are some things, Bahamians, that we've been missing for a long time. It has never been thoroughly explained to the Bahamian people so they can make a sound decision and a good judgment. Now, here's one basic fundamental thing that has happened from its inception with the Bahamian people, all the way back to 1967, 1968, 72, 77, 82, 87, 92, 97, and so on. All right? What has happened is that the Bahamian electorate has given a political party a massive landslide of seats, which means to me that they're saying, we have confidence in you, we trust you, we rely on you. See, Bahamian people are very trusting, you know. When they gave that kind of authority to that particular grouping, but what has happened? Did they let the Bahamian people down? Yes, they certainly did. They took for granted 68 massive landslide of seats, 72 massive landslide of seats, 77 same thing, 82 same thing, 87 same thing. Come on, Bahamians. But you gave that authority to one particular grouping, and whereas on the other side, it's that couple of seats, which means that those who comprise the government of the day, who comprise the seats in the House of Assembly, I think we have a call on the line. Call your live one here. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon, Brother Thompson.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Colin.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I agree with GNM when GNM was talking about some stuff. We really need to get it together in this country, man. I mean, sometimes I sit back, I wonder, and I listen to people like how Brother Carter was talking, how Brother Thompson was talking about sometimes, talking about the Bahamas, it's so wonderful, it's so great, right? But then, like when you look at it, you know, we have all these things going on here, all these unanswered questions, politicians who don't give us no accountability. Where the Privy Council still make our decisions, where our leaders still swear to the Queen of England, but then we still bragging about this constitution that we have. You know, the kind of way. I mean, we have a constitution that keeps the Privy Council our highest court, a constitution that still has have our leaders swearing to England and whoever sitting on the throne, and different things like that. We have a cabinet. Whereas we elect simpletons, like people who be on the street, who be doing anything, some of them can't even read figures. You know, the kind of way we elect them and they become all wise and all knowing. And then they go and sit in the cabinet and they have meetings and they tell us that we can't even know what they're talking about. And we allow all these things, and then we sit back as a citizenry and talk about what a wonderful country we living in. You understand? And that's been the problem, you see, because then it's been and the individuals who was around, right, when the PLP came to power with all that glory and all of that love for black people, they around today and they still talking. You understand? You know what I mean? So you see, we need to get real, man, gentlemen. You know that kind of way, because see, we have been giving individuals, even Sir Lyndon, too much credit. You understand? Because Sir Lyndon Pinland did nothing for this country in terms of setting up a future for us. All right?
Wait a minute. Stop right there.
Hold on. Let me, I'm going to ask a
Put the call on hold. Put the call on hold.
Professor, before you ask him this question, here's what I always tell people.
Okay.
What do you have better? What do you have that, looking at this Constitution, that you can bring changes to? Don't tell me about an individual. Tell me about what the Constitution says. Let's deal with the Constitution. Has the Constitution been wrong for this country? That's my question. Okay. Yes or no?
Okay, I'll let the caller answer, Brother Cartwright. Caller, go ahead, please.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that's why, gentlemen, my cell phone's lying out down, really be holding on too long and stuff, right? But Brother Cartwright, let me address your question about this Constitution to you, right? See, we give this like I just finished saying, we give this Constitution too much credit, Brother Thompson. Brother Cartwright. Brother Cartwright, the individuals who we call our forefathers, right? They ain't right that.
Who says so?
Our Constitution.
That ain't true.
Wait a minute, Brother Cartwright.
That ain't true. I could correct you on that. I will inject on that because how old are you?
Brother Cartwright.
How old are you?
I'm 50 years old, Brother Cartwright.
Then you know nothing about the Constitution.
Yeah,
wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Do you have a copy of the Independence Order?
Brother Cartwright, let me make a statement, please, Brother Cartwright. Now you said that what I said was not true.
Yes.
Right? Now, what I want you to do is whenever you come in the studio again, right, I want you to come in the studio and I want you to present evidence, right, that the people who we call our founding fathers wrote that document and not just signed it, right, but actually wrote that document, because our Constitution is like a copy and paste document that exists among all the colonial countries in the world.
That's not true.
No, it's not true.
But wait a
Colin.
minute, wait a minute, Brother Thompson.
That's not
Brother
true.
Cartwright, Brother Cartwright,
No,
Brother
we're not going to
Cartwright.
allow you to spread
Brother Cartwright,
misinformation.
Brother Cartwright. I just want you to produce the proof that they wrote it.
I have the independence order, my brother.
No, I say produce the evidence
I
that
have
they wrote it.
the independence order.
I'm going to sit back and
There-
produce the evidence that they
Here's
wrote
what
it.
I'm saying to you.
Caller, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution. We see where this,
Yeah.
this.
If you want to be Republican, here's what I would say to
No,
anyone
no,
on
no,
there.
no, no. Hold on, Brother Cartwright. The thing is, here is a person who is challenging the Constitution, who is challenging as a so-called. See, he has disrespect for his own leaders now. All right, I have a serious problem with that. These founding fathers who did what they did at that particular time, according to him, they did nothing for us as Bahamians. Obviously, he doesn't understand the purpose of the Constitution. All right? And this is a problem in our country more than 51, going on 52 years later. There's been so much misinformation about the Constitution, which has seeped into the psyche of the average Bahamian people. And he says he's only 50, he's a baby.
Yeah.
The point is, you're dealing with an individual who does not understand our history, who doesn't understand what went on. I was there from the very beginning. I know what went down. The Bahamian people didn't want a nation without God. That's point number one. We had the green paper, as you mentioned, we had the white paper, and then we have the independence order. There was tremendous discussion among the Bahamian people. I was a part of that discussion. Then you had the 18-year-olds. See, this is another thing what people don't understand. For the first time in Bahamian history,
Yes.
18-year-olds were able to vote to determine whether the country would be an independent nation, yes or no. The majority of the people voted to become an independent nation July the 10th, 1970. In fact, that election was held September the 19th, 1972. I know that. See, I have this right into my psyche.
I remember. I was
One day
school.
right after my birthday. Okay? So a lot of things that people have misunderstandings in their head. You want to condemn something. You don't understand the power of the Constitution. You're allowing the mistakes of people. And I keep saying this to people all the time. Do not allow the mistakes or the misunderstandings of other people to cause you to derail a Constitution that protects you. You could imagine what would happen in this place if we didn't have it. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
So I think what happens is that most of these persons or political parties try to compare the Constitution that was laid in front of Parliament to their party constitution.
No, that's a different
which
thing
is
altogether.
different.
Totally different.
And so there are certain things that they allow, this Constitution doesn't allow.
Exactly.
Could you imagine now? I've looked at a lot of Caribbean countries' constitution. Many of them don't have, many of them are less, who use the monarchy system, have less articles than us.
Yes.
We have 137.
But see, the caller talking about the founding fathers didn't have any input into this doctrine, this Constitution, which is totally false. We had the green paper, we had the white paper, and then we had the independence order. What the heck is he talking about?
I don't think he understands.
No, he doesn't understand.
Because the white paper and the green paper, even though they did not have referendums, they basically printed out that what was going to go into this.
What was going into the document.
And you had to say,
there was widespread discussion.
Do you? And unlike what we have today. So they basically made sufficient, thorough effort to put this, craft this, because you had input from every sphere
every
of life.
strata of Bahamian society.
From the church, private, public, every
Everything.
sector.
Everything was covered.
And so when they put this together,
even the 18-year-olds.
Yes. People don't understand that some of the brightest minds of the time, people like the H. Horace A. Wright.
Yes.
You had people like Ari Cooper.
Oh yeah, Ari Cooper. We
The
can't
late
forget him.
Carlton Francis.
Carlton Francis. Yeah. He was
H.W.
Minister of
Brown.
Finance, H.W. Brown.
The late Cecil Wallace Whitfield.
Yeah.
We've had all, whether white, black, him, all came together.
Yes.
And they ratified this document.
Yes, they did.
Even though some of them didn't want it to go independence at the time, but at a later date,
Yes.
they still fall in line and they ratified.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I think we got to call it.
No, hold on. Don't
Go ahead.
rush that.
Yeah.
Caller, you stay right there for the time being. Now, let's finish this point.
Yes.
Then we'll get to the caller. The point is that there were persons who said at that time, independence not now,
Yes.
but later, but
Later.
they didn't say when.
Yes.
Okay, so you had people who had different opposing views.
Views.
That's understandable.
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. The Constitution even today allows for different viewpoints by different personalities. Let's take the caller.
Yes.
Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good day, Professor. Good day, Mr. Cartwright.
Yes.
Good
go
day,
ahead.
sir.
It's highly, before you're going to the break, I wanted to make sure that we explain to the people who wrote the Constitution, because we didn't go and stay on that point, that we began with the independence order. We began with a Constitution that, friends, we began with a Constitution that was presented by the British, but we created our own. We need to make sure the public understands that.
Yes.
Okay, I accept that because see, we were a colony at that time. All right.
Yeah.
And so when it came to choosing which direction we should go in, first the authorities introduced the green paper, and then they introduced the white paper. Then at that time, they decided to allow 18-year-old persons to vote for the first time in Bahamian history. September the 19th, 1972. The first time young people were able to vote. So you had discussion, widespread discussion throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in relation to what direction the country ought to go. We don't give the credit to these brilliant minds who got together under the inspiration of God to craft out a nation under God. See, people forget this, you know.
Yeah.
You have Dr. Ari Cooper, a very powerful religious leader at that time who stood for he didn't take no foolishness, no nonsense. And you had the political leaders at that day who consulted with those persons like him and others who had their say. Now, there were some who disagreed. That's understandable. But the overwhelming majority of the people decided we will go independent July the 10th, 1973. So the election was held September the 19th, 1972. And that led to independence July the 10th, 1973. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
Yes, I think the caller, I don't know if the caller's still on.
Is the caller still there? Caller, are you still there?
That's it for now.
Oh, okay,
to make sure
good.
the public does understand that not every constitution in the Caribbean or in the Commonwealth speaks to an abiding respect.
No, it doesn't.
Christian values.
Nothing.
Not all countries say that we are a people under God.
No, they don't.
So this is critical because
Very
nothing
critical.
can come out of the United Nations talking about certain policies and certain alternative lifestyles that they are recommending and trying to coerce us into following.
That is correct.
Where our Constitution states that to the degree that any other law
Yes.
or anything that is
Contrary.
contrary to our Constitution, it is null and void.
That
That's
is
very
correct.
important.
That's very important, yeah.
And caller, you know what is so sad and all of this, you know, caller?
Yeah.
For years, and this was something that we've been advocating for years, should be taught in our schools so our people understand.
Yeah, that's
See, this is where the people now become discouraged and they now attack the Constitution because when you don't understand something, you become very defensive against it. And this is where the Parliament, I have a lot of very, very grievance with the Parliament, not just this one, but all of them basically refuse to give the people the knowledge of what they have. Yes, they give us a book back then, call it the Pre-Independence, which became the Constitution. But as time went by, parents changed from becoming parents. You had parents became younger, so people didn't have time to sit down and educate their kids as they were back then. And so this is where the Minister of Education should have basically, all of them, got up in the cabinet or in the parliament and said, listen, this document, we want it to be taught in all schools, private, public, as simple from the age of 5, so you know your rights. This is why I always tell people, if you look at other countries, when you hear their citizens cite their constitution, and the caller asked, before you asked about it, the Privy Council, and Loftus Roker said something that I think went over many people here, the late Loftus Roker. He said that the reason why this parliament and the administration kept the British Privy Council as our highest court, we wanted not to show a favoritism with political interference. What more do you want? People don't realize that every article that has been challenged by whether it's the government or by individuals, when it goes to the Privy Council, the Privy just say to them, listen, here's what your constitution says. Go back and follow it. Now, many might come back and delay it, but they're not following it. We've had the last case we've had at the Privy Council was the Jane Rooney case.
Same thing.
Jane Rooney, he was born in the Bahamas, and the Privy Council said, listen, the young man let the appointed date pass.
Yes.
So the Constitution said, if you not file between the age of 18 and 19, whatever status you have before that, that's who you are. So they said, if you try to apply at the age of 21, which he did, and your parents were Haitian, you have to take up the nationality of your parents.
Well, he always had that.
Yes, and so that was automatic for him.
Automatic, yeah.
So the Privy said to them, that's it. We cannot grant you something. We cannot force the government. And his attorney said to the Privy, listen, I agree with you, he's a Haitian. He did not follow the law to apply at a specific time. But I would like for you to ask the government to have some mercy by granting him some form of other status, whether it's permanent residence or a work permit. We have never really seriously looked at alternative sections in our Constitution to deal with persons born in the Bahamas and who doesn't qualify.
So, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
My final point, now that you raised that, I'll just raise this point and then leave for the day. What do we say to a prime minister who understands what you just explained about the Privy Council ruling, who is going to turn around and show contempt by doing the opposite of what that ruling states? He knows the ruling. He knows the citizenship laws. But he is still telling persons that y'all are Bahamians of all ages.
Let me put it this way, caller, because I understand what you're trying to say. See, the problem has been where Bahamians have been listening to the views of political personalities. And unfortunately, these views by these political personalities have taken root in their psyche. It has caused a whole lot of problems. Not because the Prime Minister says the group of non-Bahamians, you are Bahamians because it comes out of his mouth. That doesn't make it law. But there are those who believe that whatever the Prime Minister may say, or any minister, the government for that matter, says something, like you got one who talk about the Director of Public Prosecutions is independent. Utter nonsense and foolishness. You check the article in relation to the change that was made when they had this fancy position called Director of Public Prosecution. Check the document yourself, Bahamians. Even when they were talking about it, all the time they kept saying, and that lie has come right on up to today, independent Director of Public Prosecution. There is no such thing in law, constitutional law, about an independent director of public prosecution. But because these political personalities keep talking this crap, people begin to believe in the foolishness and the nonsense that come out of their mouth. All you got to do is check the document and see it's not there. It has never been there. But you heard the Minister for National Security talking that crap. And people believe him because he's the Minister of National Security. But that's our problem in this country. We believe in the crap coming out of the mouths of political personalities, but we do not check what the Constitution says or do not understand the importance of the Constitution. Go ahead, caller.
Understood. Well, I did say one final point, but Professor, tomorrow I believe we will take this up for discussion also.
Yes.
To hear Mr. Fred Mitchell say sometimes it's just not worth answering questions.
I've heard that too, yeah. Now, you know what that means, right?
I'm gone on that one.
Okay.
I'll be listening.
Yes, but yeah.
The point, Professor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Drop that one and go on.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard that remark made.
Yeah.
And there's a way to deal with that kind of contempt for the Bahamian people. See, we have allowed people to carry on with so much foolishness and so much nonsense. They take you for granted. And that's what Bahamians need to understand. There is a constitutional way to deal with people like that. And we need to concentrate on what it is we need to do to get rid of this foolishness and nonsense once and for all. See, we get distracted by the foolishness and the nonsense coming from these political personalities. That's unfortunate. But it's a matter that we have to deal with. And of course, he mentioned about what the individual said. We could deal with that at a later time.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Cartwright.
You know, Professor, let me look at some of these Facebook
Yes.
comments.
Okay.
We've got Mr. Henry Morris out of Grand Bahama. Where is the betterment for Bahamians with all of this knowledge? Organic Patriot, good afternoon. As Organic Bahamian, invite Miss Charlotte Green on the show and watch ratings increase.
What is an organic Bahamian? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that is? I've heard the terminology, but I don't know. Maybe someone could call in and explain what that means.
Sandra Carey, good day all. Sidney Thompson just had a whale beaching in Eleuthera last week.
Okay.
Dwayne Hyler, Skidoo, very interested. We need to hear more about any more animals being beached. Skidoo, we will keep you informed. Skidoo, how could we get the Constitution to work for us? Please tell me. What about
What
the
did he
kids?
say? What did
Said, how do we get the Constitution to work for them? Please tell them.
Okay, all right.
What
I'll
about the
answer
case
one.
that the Patriots have in court? How can we speed up the process? Professor, did the issues of independence go to a referendum? That's what Organic Bahamian wanted to find out. Okay.
What do you mean? The issue?
For us to go to independence, did it go to a referendum? No, it didn't. It was based on the 69 Constitution, which did not have a referendum, which was the old British system.
Yes, okay.
And that's why this Constitution came with referendums. So
Yes.
they took away, they limit some of the powers of the parliament.
Yes.
Because of time past before this independence order came into play, Parliament made all decisions, and basically you had a lot of stuff was done by the English Crown itself.
That is true, yes.
We were only
We were still a colony.
Yes, and
We're
so
still a
basically
colony.
the Bahama Islands still had a lot of heavy input from the Crown.
That is correct.
And so when we got internal and external governance moving towards independence, we used part of that old model to create this new model.
Yes, that is
which
correct.
means that the founding fathers themselves limit some of the powers that they would have had they kept the same old 69 Constitution.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to expound on that a little bit more because I think we have, we're going to a break again, and these breaks seem to be coming so quickly, you know. But when I start again, I'm going to have to explain some things to him because that question that was asked, I want to answer that question from the Facebook caller. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Spread yourself. Do it good. Spread yourself.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Do you love fresh flowers at low prices? If so, come into Petal Pusher's Elegant Florist, your event planner. We can't wait to help you with that perfect bouquet or basket for that special person, or book us for your significant life event. We specialize in decorating yachts, weddings, proms, funeral events, and so much more. Create that smile by visiting us on Bay Street opposite the old Hotel Corona, or call us at 326-2663 and place your order today.
Bahamian feel-good food in the right atmosphere. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever you choose. It's the Cricket Club Restaurant at Haynes Point, West Bay Street. The food is off the chain. Bahamian breakfast. We talking stew conch, stew fish, and sheeptown sauce. And for lunch, crab soup, okra soup, and pea soup and dumpling. Man! And for dinner, they got mahi seafood platter or steak and shrimp. Only $28.95 per person. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Cricket Club Restaurant. Call 326-4720 for reservations. Oh, and don't forget, there's a live band, The Magic Touch, every Friday night. See
Wise
you
Bahamian
there.
shoppers know when times are hard and things are tough, it's more sensible and convenient to shop at YK's Fashion Center. YK's has slashed prices on brand name clothing and shoes by up to 50%, including academics, Clark, polo, and 100 of jeans and dicky pants. And as much as 70% on selected items. Choose from a large selection of beds, sheets, rugs, and towels, all at affordable prices. YK's has 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, Prince Charles, and East Street South near the Charles Hotel. YK's, where you can afford to look good.
Hey, Shoe Depot has what you and your wallet need. They are stuffed with stylish and exciting footwear, handbags, wallets, and accessories for all occasions. Shoes for the professional, casual, cute and glitzy, skid resistant, and ultra comfortable for those long work days. Shoe Depot has got you. Oh, and be sure to join our Shoe Depot Rewards Club for extra savings and earn points for special benefits. Visit either of our 2 locations, Golden Gate Plaza or the Palmdale Plaza. At Shoe Depot, you'll find the best selection of the best styles and at the best prices.
From East Street to Blue Hill Road, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Here, let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself here. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. I am so delighted of the callers calling in and asking sound constitutional questions. That really lifts my spirit, Bahamians. I am so delighted that people are calling in and questioning the things that the leaders of this country are saying and doing, which are not constitutionally sound. It can be proven, Bahamians. Now, why it was not taught in school, that's a different kettle of fish. We have to find a way to deal with that. The point is that we have to deal with what we have now. It was never done, and we don't know when they may decide to do it. I doubt at this stage they would ever will. But the point is, Bahamians, there are always alternatives. Because we're going to have to do something about getting, in addition to this show, information about the Constitution, sound constitutional information based on the Independence Order, which is the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas. Article 2 says very clearly, any other law, I don't care what kind of law they say they got, UN law, US law, British law, any other law, even Caribbean law, any other law that is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail. No other law could supersede the Constitution of the Commonwealth. Babies, you need to understand how important that is. And stop allowing these crappy foolishness and nonsense to get into your psyche for people to mislead you and deceive you. That's right there in Article 2 of your Constitution. This Constitution shall prevail. Because you got some people who want to put out crap, and the caller wanted to call him giving a lot of misinformation. You have to stop him. We cannot allow that to go on the air. If you don't understand, and I keep saying this to people all the time, if you don't know, well then ask Bahamians. That's why Professor is here. And if I'm not able to answer it, I will tell you clearly and distinctly. I will have to check that information because I'm not going to give any misinformation when it comes to the Constitution where someone talking crap about something paste together and disrespect the work of the founding mothers and fathers of this country. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing,
Go ahead, caller.
Professor?
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Last night I hear on the news where Mr. Harvard, this a white man, said on the news say that the prime minister and his wife is very friendly to him.
Yeah, that's a personal thing.
And Frederick say what that is. Frederick say what that is got to do with, Frederick don't know what to say.
Pardon? Who's
He
that?
went to keep his mouth shut himself.
Who's that?
Frederick.
Oh, well, then I said the last statements that he made, and I think Mr. Producer has that tape on that. Maybe we're going to play that tape today if we have the time.
He said what that is got to do with,
Yeah, but he needs to apply the last.
He should be glad. He should be glad that man said he liked the prime minister and his wife.
Well, that's a personal thing, and I don't want to get into that. The point is what the minister said at the very last of his statements. He got to listen to the things they say. Let him apply that information to himself and his government.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Because you see, when you talk about the law and when you talk about what is important, the thing is that the government itself is violating the Constitution. We know that for a fact. Tell him talk that.
Yeah, okay. Tell him talk that. And then he like to say, but put in your pipe and smoke it.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for your contribution.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Now, the thing is that we have another caller. Oh, okay. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead,
Hey,
please.
Professor, once again, I'll make it quick, but you
put
in an offer just now for someone to call in to explain what organic was.
Yes.
Okay. Professor, remember when they were climbing the Tower of Babel?
Yes.
Or Babel?
The Tower of Babel, yeah.
You know the story, right?
Yeah, I remember.
And God confused the language, right?
Yes, he did.
The word organic came down, and no one can, appreciate what the real meaning says. I'll talk to you in that language right now. I'll give you some names, and I'm not that smart to bring this up out of my head. I just Googled it.
Okay.
One is indigenous, aboriginal, orthogenic, native, endemic, and domestic, born, native, local, regional. And you see, we go on, right?
Okay.
But it's the spirit of the conversation that when somebody says organic, we know what we're talking about. Okay?
Do you think all those people who are saying organic Bahamians, they actually understand and they're saying the same thing?
Let me answer this as most intelligent as I can. I don't understand them because, as you are correct, the words speak to some kind of fruit or some kind of, what do you call it, biological thing.
Okay.
But we're trying to gather the Bahamian spirit as one. So we use the word organic.
Yes.
That means your mother born on Hawkins Hill. Oh, no, sorry, Hawkins. And my mother born down the street, straight on the same hill.
Yes.
We are one. And we call it organic. It might be the wrong term. But it means we are one. And if nobody want to use that word, this is where we get to the point, the crux of the issue. If you don't want to use that word and you want to hold on to your Haitian heritage, God bless you. You want to hold on to whatever, Jamaican, wherever you came from.
Yes.
The Bahamians say, we are here in the Bahamas. We don't have to put Bahamian organic. We're just organic to the soil.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Colbrook.
Yeah. But I can't really want to expound a little on that because, see, not.
We got another caller, man.
Yeah, another call on the line.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say something with that thing what I asked you all. Do you all know in reality is our government After the London, are traders to the coming of the Bahamas. Both I think enough now.
I don't understand what you're saying. Would you rephrase that again? Would you
They are both
rephrase?
traders to the coming of the Bahamas.
I still didn't get what he said, you know.
Okay.
Our Prime Minister.
All right. Well, okay. In what aspect?
All right then.
No, caller, hold on. What? I didn't get the question clearly.
He said that after Linden,
Uh-huh.
all of the prime ministers we had since Linden were traitors to the Bahamas. And
What he said? Treaty?
Traitors.
Traitors.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I was trying to get him to explain some of the acts of what he talking about.
What he mean? They committed treason.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's a serious.
Because I always tell
comment.
people that yes, these guys. And one of the things that someone said to me yesterday, and they said, we pledge to the King of England and whatever. But I always said to them, not really. That's only for the parliamentarians.
Yes.
The pledge written by Reverend Philip Rodney said, I pledge my allegiance to the flag, to the Commonwealth
of the
Bahamas, and for which it stands, one people united in love and service.
That's the pledge.
That's the pledge of the Bahamas. And I said, it's funny that when we go to Parliament, we've never hear the parliamentarians
Take
say
the pledge.
Take the pledge.
Yes.
And I said, if you affirm from taking an oath to the monarchy, this is what you're supposed to recite. So people know you are basically in that parliament for this country, no other country.
That's correct.
And this is why I just tell people, he's got to listen and to understand what people ask for, because a lot of Bahamians don't even know about the pledge of the Bahamas.
No, I'm glad you raised that point. That is a very valid point, and that is what should be the basis on which our parliamentarians, both in the House and in the Senate, ought to be acting upon.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe we have another caller on the line. My producer is saying, caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good day again. Professor, based on the last caller that spoke of what was an organic Bahamian,
yes,
I just wanted to point out that in that church on Abaco, where the Prime Minister spoke, there was it was a conference, we understand, that it was a conference that was being held by Haitian pastors.
Yes.
I want to bring to the public's attention that there was a sign. If you look at that video, there was a sign on the pulpit or at the front of the church.
Mm-hmm.
And if I recall correctly, it said Haitian Pastor Association of Abaco.
Haitian Pastors Association of Abaco.
Yeah, right on the sign, they are saying they are Haitian, but our Prime Minister is telling them, you're not Haitian, you're Bahamian. Those are the words of Philip Edward Davis.
Yes.
I just wanted to leave that with you.
Yes, sir.
And see you another day. Take care.
Okay.
Haitian Pastors Association of Abaco.
It is strange and confuddling that the leader of the Bahamas tends to confer status on people who already have their identity.
Who have their identity,
and
yes.
he wants to change their identity.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It is amazing that the person said, because even here in the city,
yes,
we have a grouping just like that, where they have their conclaves. And I was like, why are you going all out of your way to change the status of these individuals?
Yes.
Mr. Prime Minister,
that's a good
the
question.
law does not gives you that power.
No, he doesn't.
So why don't you answer the simple question? Because, I was about to tell you earlier, he talked about Stephen Dillard.
Yeah, Stephen Dillard, yeah.
Stephen Dillard came to the Bahamas in 1802.
Okay.
Which means that at the time, he was a French citizen.
Citizen, yes. Not a Haitian.
He was not a Haitian. The nation of Haiti came into play in 1804.
Yes.
And then for many years, they changed back and forth with dictators and stuff.
Of course.
And then you had where the United States came in and governed Haiti for like almost 20 years.
That's correct. Yes.
And the constitution now that Haiti has was second constitution after United States, because then you had the Duvaliers came in.
The Duvaliers, yes.
They set
Father
up
and
their
son.
Yes, they set up their form of a constitution.
That's right.
And then you have now this present constitution, which they have, which is, the people understand, it's a republic.
Yes, it is.
The people of Haiti only vote, but the leadership and the governance with amendments to their constitution is done by their National Assembly.
Now, the thing is, President Aristide was the first experiment with democracy, and that was short-lived.
Yes.
And I think the U.S. had to take him out of there for safety reasons. Haiti has always been in turmoil.
Yes.
They said they defeated the French, that's fine. But then in 1804, they declared themselves independent, and they had to pay some money to the French government. But the point is, from 1804, since they were, and according to the Prime Minister, the pearl of this particular region, all right? Yet, for whatever reason, Haiti has always been a troublesome place. The people of that country have always been in turmoil. Even today, it's worse now than ever before. And I don't understand why we want to get mixed up with a bunch of people who can't get on well with one another. We as Bahamians cannot take this load on our back. Our nation is much smaller than theirs.
And
right?
population.
And population. You know, the population, you know, if you had the kind of slaughteration in here like they had in Sudan, we would be finished. We won't even exist.
No.
So we have to understand that our population is small. And you take all the illegals out of here, it'd be even smaller still because they don't belong here. And we should not have a situation where we want to bring in a whole army of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders, just to say you want to increase the population and making these people, quote unquote, citizens when they don't even qualify. There's nothing wrong with having people coming into work.
No.
For a specified period of time, but you have to have strict control. When these women want to have their babies, no problem, send them home. The point is that we have to be very, very careful that we do not allow ourselves to be overrun, and some people already believe we overrun with strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders. That is a matter that we have to settle. Because right now, when you look around, you see all kinds of strangers in the place. And of course, in Abaco, that's like a Haitian island itself, where you have so many of them congregate there. And of course, they have the Haitian Pastors Association in Abaco. All right? So here was the leader of the country doing a terrible disservice to the Bahamian people. When he ought to be, I said. Maybe he's not. But he himself says he's a Haitian. He's one of them anyhow. We have that tape too.
Yes.
But Bahamians need to understand who you're dealing with. There's a way to deal with these kind of people. Constitutionally, the Constitution doesn't leave you in doubt. I don't understand why we want to keep putting up with the crap from these particular individuals who are not constitutionally sound. We already know that. Now, there's a specific course of action that must be taken. And I was delighted when the caller called in and asked all of those constitutional questions. And I don't think we gave him sufficient information based on the Constitution so that he can make a sound decision and a good judgment. And let me just explain this about constituencies. The Constitution says very plainly in one article, the Commonwealth of Bahamas shall be divided into 38 or more constituencies. Ain't say nothing about no cities. Ain't say nothing about no states. All right? Constituencies. Well, that's what we have. Now, if we want to change that, we got to change it. We got to have a referendum to change that. 38 or more. Well, we got 39 now. The point is when people who are on the registered constituents in a given constituency, their job is to choose the right person to send to the House of Assembly to represent them. Unfortunately, this has been bamboozled all over the place. And I always draw the analogy of people in St. Barnabas Church who work the BTC, because I think an analogy like that, people can understand it.
Yes.
Here are people living in a particular constituency who've lived there practically all their lives. We got lawyers in there, you got doctors in there, you got nurses in there, you got trained people in there, sanitation workers, you got all kinds of people in there. How is it then? You mean to tell me some, let's say 5,000 registered persons in a given constituency. You mean to tell me they ain't got enough sense to come together and have serious discussion about choosing a person who lives among them? Who lives among them? There's nothing unconstitutional about that. Here is an option that we've never taken as a nation, as a people, because the Constitution gives you the authority to choose a representative. When you go in the box, you vote for a representative in that particular constituency. But no, we don't want to do that. We want to talk about, we want to vote for this fellow with Brown. You don't vote for no prime minister.
No, you don't.
Let's get that clear. That's out of your head, man. Yeah. If we were to concentrate on sending the right person to the House of Assembly to represent us in that particular constituency, the crap was going on now would never happen, because basically what has been happening is the electorate has been kowtowing to political personalities and giving them such a massive landslide of seats, hoping and thinking that they're going to work in their benefit. It's never worked. After Sir Lyndon, everything went crashing to the ground. The people had confidence in Sir Lyndon. Sir Lyndon started out, he had love and appreciation for the people. But the point in, as time went on all the way up to 1992, and Sir Lyndon himself said he didn't know the people was hurting that much, the very night when he lost the election. Come on, man. The Bahamian people were trusting people. Bahamians, you can't do that crap anymore. You got to stop that foolishness. You did it with the F&M party, and the same crap happened. Bahamians, you got to choose the right person. And of course, Constitution Day on Monday, I can deal more with that then. Because the thing is, Bahamians, we have been making very poor choices. We're so party conscious, politically polarized, we can't seem to understand what our constitutional mandate is as a registered citizen in that particular constituency. You are to choose a representative for your particular constituency. If we were to concentrate on that and make that a reality, then you won't have this crap that you see going on right now, until such time as we're able to make other changes in your constitution. That's the power of the vote, Bahamians, that you have, and you throw it away all the time. Oh, you know, then you decide to stay home. The worst thing you could do is stay home. People need to get together. You're not sure how to do that. You call Professor Sidney McCarter, Walter Thompson. I can show you constitutionally how you can do it. You can still be a member. Listen, let me make this clear, Brother Cartwright. You can be a member of a particular political party. That political party will put up a candidate, right? Mm-hmm. And say, hey, vote for that one. But the particular personality ain't worth a crap. So you say, okay, I'm voting for that particular person. Why can't you know? You're not bound to do it.
No.
You don't have to be a member of a political party to participate in a parliamentary democracy. Do people understand that?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I got to explain that on Monday in great detail, because these are the things, and that's why I was so delighted when the caller called in and asked all of those questions, and we didn't get the time to really explain it. I can deal with that on Monday. When I'll have nobody in here, I can talk myself and get the information across. Okay, and I can tell Mr. Producer to put those calls on hold, because when I start to explain something, I don't want it to be interrupted, because, you know, some people call into the show. One particular personality called and he said what he thought I had said. I said, no, sir, I didn't say it like that. And I corrected him and I told him what I had said. See, people got to learn to listen. And sometimes they hear something, but they're not listening. So that poses a problem. Go ahead, Brother Carter.
You know, for some reason, I believe, I know I don't like to label, but there's a particular person on the Facebook page. I think his name is Organic Bahamian. Right there. Stop right there.
Okay.
For some reason, I don't think he understands the style of governance within a republic. He keeps saying that a republic would give more power to the people.
In which way?
To manage their own affairs. Now, best way I can speak to show you that it doesn't work that way, Organic Patriot. Here's a slight example. Every state in the United States has its own internal constitution, but it doesn't supersede the federal constitution, nor does the federal constitution override the state constitution. Then every state has a city, which has a mayor, who also provided for a city constitution.
Yeah.
So let me break it down for you right now.
Some of these states got more than one city.
Yes.
Yeah.
For instance, in the Bahamas, let's say the COI is the administration of the day. But the person who runs the island of Long Island is an F&M. If you want to mandate policies to govern Long Island, and the MP or the governor who's in charge of Long Island and the people don't want to go along with it, what happens then? You have chaos.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have to abide by. So now you have a government within a government. When you look at this constitution of the Bahamas, we have one government.
Okay,
one
I think,
administration.
well, Cartwright, being able to stop you
Yes.
there because we done run out of time, and my producer is being nice to me
Yes.
today. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio. Tomorrow is Friday.
Yes.
We open line Friday
Yes, we'll
tomorrow, and
continue
we're going to
tomorrow.
probably continue this because I am so delighted with the questions that came up today, and I didn't have enough time to really in depth into it like I should. But Bahamians, I am saying that you are serious about questioning the authorities of this country based on the Constitution. That's fine. That's very good. But now there's something I can ask you to do about it, you know. You have to do something about it. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon. Be safe, and we'll meet again tomorrow, God willing.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio.